On a chilly November evening in 1971, Portland International Airport buzzed with the usual chaos of holiday travelers. Among the throng was a man whose ordinary appearance betrayed the extraordinary events he was about to set in motion. Dressed in a dark business suit, white shirt, and black tie, carrying a briefcase, he purchased a one-way ticket on Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 to Seattle. Identifying himself as Dan Cooper, this unassuming passenger would soon etch his name into the annals of history. What followed was a daring hijacking that has captivated imaginations for over 5 decades, a mystery that transformed aviation security and remains unsolved to this day. The hijacking. As Flight 305 took off into the fading twilight, Cooper sat quietly in his seat, sipping a bourbon and soda. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a note to a flight attendant. Thinking it was another flirtatious passenger, she pocketed it without a glance. Cooper leaned in and said calmly, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." What began as a routine flight quickly turned into a carefully orchestrated heist. Cooper showed the attendant a glimpse of the contents of his briefcase, red cylinders attached to wires, and dictated his demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. Upon landing in Seattle, Cooper released the passengers in exchange for the ransom and parachutes, but kept the flight crew on board. He then instructed the pilots to head south toward Mexico City, flying low and slow to maintain cabin pressure. But Cooper had no intention of reaching Mexico. The leap into mystery somewhere over the dense forests of southwestern Washington, Cooper made his move. Under the cover of night, with storm clouds brewing, he opened the Boeing 727's rear stairway, an unprecedented act, and leaped into the freezing abyss. When the plane landed safely in Reno, Nevada, Cooper was gone. So was the ransom money. The FBI launched an intensive search, combing the rugged terrain where they believed he landed. But there was no trace of Cooper, dead or alive. Clues and dead ends. The investigation yielded tantalizing clues, but no definitive answers. Aboard the plane, agents found Cooper's black clip-on tie, a tie clip, 8 cigarette butts, and a hair from his headrest. Despite this, Cooper's identity remained elusive. In 1980, a breakthrough seemed possible when an 8-year-old boy discovered $5,800 in deteriorated $20 bills along the Columbia River. The serial numbers matched the ransom money, yet no other traces of the fortune or Cooper were found. The suspects. Over the decades, the FBI investigated over 1,000 suspects. Among the most notable were Ted Braden, a former Special Forces paratrooper known for his audacity and skill; Kenneth Christensen, a Northwest Airlines employee who resembled Cooper and had suspicious financial activity; Barbara Dayton, a transgender woman and pilot who allegedly confessed to the hijacking; Richard McCoy, an Army veteran who executed a similar hijacking months later but was caught and killed during a standoff. Each suspect had intriguing connections to the case, yet none could be definitively tied to the crime. Physical evidence and forensic gaps. The FBI's forensic search of the hijacked plane and recovered artifacts offered limited insights. Cooper's cigarette butts, for example, might have held valuable DNA evidence, but they were lost by the agency. The clip-on tie, analyzed decades later, contained rare metallic particles consistent with aerospace manufacturing, a clue suggesting Cooper may have worked in the aviation industry. Despite these leads, the trail went cold. In 2016, After 45 years of fruitless investigation, the FBI officially closed the case. Theories and speculation. What happened to D.B. Cooper? Theories abound. 1. Survival and escape. Some believe Cooper was an experienced skydiver who executed his plan flawlessly. Proponents argue he landed safely, perhaps in an area he knew well, and disappeared into obscurity. 2. Death in the wilderness. Others suggest Cooper perished in the jump. The stormy weather, lack of appropriate gear, and challenging terrain make survival seem unlikely. 3. Inside Job. A few theorists speculate Cooper had insider knowledge of the Boeing 727 and airline operations, indicating possible collusion with someone on the ground or within the airline. Copycats and cultural legacy. Cooper's audacity inspired a wave of imitators. In 1972 alone, 15 hijackings mimicked his methods, though none were successful. These incidents prompted sweeping changes to aviation security, including mandatory luggage searches and metal detectors. Boeing even introduced Cooper vanes to prevent the rear stairway of 727s from being opened mid-flight. Beyond its practical impact, the legend of D.B. Cooper permeated popular culture. From movies like The Pursuit of D.B. Cooper and Without a Paddle, to TV shows like Breaking Bad and Loki, his story has inspired countless adaptations. In the Pacific Northwest, Cooper-themed events, T-shirts and conventions like CooperCon keep the mystery alive. The death of Earl J. Cossey. In 2013, the mystery took a dark turn when Earl J. Cossey, the man who packed Cooper's parachutes, was found murdered in his Washington home. Speculation about a connection to the case ran wild, but authorities determined the motive was likely burglary. The lasting impact of D.B. Cooper. D.B. Cooper's story endures because it's more than a crime. It's a symbol of mystery, rebellion, and ingenuity. His heist forced transformative changes in aviation security, turning an audacious act into a catalyst for progress. But the questions linger. Did he survive? If so, where did he go? And why did he risk it all in the first place? Cooper's tale captivates us because it invites us to imagine. Was he a meticulous mastermind or an impulsive dreamer? His crime challenges our perceptions of what's possible, reminding us of the allure of the unknown. A mystery for the ages. The case of D.B. Cooper is one of America's greatest enigmas, a story with no ending, only infinite possibilities. Whether you see him as a hero, a villain, or an enigma, one thing is certain: his legend will live on, soaring high in the annals of history. What do you think happened to D.B. Cooper? Could you have pulled off such a daring escape? Let us know your thoughts. After all, the mystery is far from over.